everybody. So it's been a while since I made a longer video, and may I say that this video may tussle some feathers, but I'm going to try my best to explain why I think that all these films are disappointing for me. Number 1, I lost my body. Now, I'm not really familiar with French animation, but from what I've heard and from what I've seen, they actually have some pretty decent movies and TV shows over there. Except for Whack Fu. Whack Fu, more like fuck you. But on Netflix, I kept on seeing this movie, so I was like, might as well. And man, this is such a fucking creepy movie. First off, the main character is just overly obsessive over this girl that he met over a fucking buzzer. And the movie sort of poses it in this way as if it's supposed to be a really cute moment. But in reality, throughout the movie, I just feel really fucking creeped out. He starts tracking down her location, starts straight up just stalking her. Then when she goes to this location and meets up with this guy, he automatically wants to work for his workshop just to have a chance to interact with this girl. He goes to her place where she works at and constantly bothers her, doing it in this way where he's trying to make it as if it's genuine and that he's actually bumping into her. But the only way that he found out where she was through her boss, which when he meets her, he immediately says that he needs to see her, but justifiably so. She says why, but he never answers why, so it comes off as really fucking creepy to her. So then she tries to notify her over the intercom, but then he stops her. But it's posed in this way as if she's in the wrong, even though she's not. So when he finally starts talking to her, they just talk about really mundane things. He just makes up shit. And by some chance, she was talking about polar bears, which she visibly looks like she's not interested in the conversation, and she's also not interested in polar bears. So then this guy, based on one conversation that he had with her, not even getting to know her really that much, he builds a fucking igloo on the goddamn roof of the apartment that he's living in, due to his experience of getting the wood job from the guy, just to try and impress her. He later on reveals it to her, and then she's just like, oh, okay. And then you see that he gets visibly disappointed by that. Like, yeah, of course she would have that reaction. It's just one fucking conversation that you had. So they chill inside the little igloo. He orders some pizza, which is from a previous job that he had, which was the whole entire reason of why he was at the buzzer. And he opens it up, and it's the same exact pizza that she ordered. And he looks at her and goes, does that pizza look familiar? I'm the pizza guy. And justifiably so, she gets fucking upset. She just storms off because she thinks that this guy just wants to fuck her and nothing else. So from this perfectly sane character that we've seen so far, what would you think that he would do after this? What would make him any more hateable? He gets super angry, he gets drunk, then he picks a fight with a random fucking person, which, yeah, he was being a little snooty, a little bit of a goober, if you will. But would you fucking smash his face into a table and then start beating the ever-loving shit out of him? No! How am I supposed to like this fucking main character? He's creepy, he's fucking unhinged, clearly. He's spiteful when stuff isn't in his way, and he just yells creepy incel behavior. In the ending, I felt like they just cheaped out because they didn't want it to be that depressing, because it felt like where things were going, that he was actually going to end himself, just based on his mannerisms and the way that he handled himself, and also the fact that he couldn't get past the fact that his family died years ago. It just all kind of just made sense. And obviously they're teasing it because it shows him sort of off the ledge and him getting closer to the ledge, when in reality he was just jumping towards a crane. I love the whole entire concept of the girl listening to the recording and almost as if she's about to listen to somebody committing suicide. And I love the fact that the sound effects from this point was sort of in the perspective of what she was listening to. But it just felt too happy of an ending because the whole entire movie was just overwhelmingly sad. You may be saying, oh, you didn't bring up the hand part. That's the whole entire marketing for it. Which, yes, that is my favorite part of the movie. I love how they animated the hand. There's honestly some very funny and creative bits. You sort of get the backstory of the main character and the reason why this hand is trying to look for him. And overall, I would have liked the movie 10 times more if it wasn't for the fucking main character. I love the whole entire message of dealing with grief and how different people deal with grief, and how it's extremely hard for some people to actually move past their own grief. But I just hate the fact that we're following this absolutely creep of a character. It would have been an 8 out of 10, but honestly, the main character, I can't move past that. It would have to be like a fucking 5. Number 2, Ballad of Buster Scruggs. This one I'm really conflicted with. There are some genuinely really creative and funny bits in this movie. It's structured like an anthology where it's split up into 6 major parts. The first part I really enjoyed. If I could grade it by itself, it'll be a fucking 10 out of 10. Tim Blake Nelson does such a great job at just conveying this really cartoony and outlandish character. He feels like a brand new Jim Carrey in a way. The running joke of him appearing to be incompetent but actually being a certified badass was just extremely funny and also awesome. There is one scene that I'm not going to spoil, but it has to do with them playing poker, and I was genuinely shocked at the creativity of a kill. It was both shockingly funny, but also so damn cool. I also think that's very funny that at the end, spoilers, Buster Scruggs gets shot in the head and then he's singing off into heaven as the person who shot him is also singing along with him. Whoa, it's almost symbolic in a way because this movie is killing the only thing that was good about it. Anyways, 10 out of 10 for this short. I really fucking enjoyed it. Anyways, off to the second one. We're introduced to this tough outlaw, aka Redacted, where he tries to rob this bank. What he doesn't know is that the bank owner is actually completely prepared. He shoots off some shotguns that was below his counter, and he runs off. Then he comes back with this fucking Goodwill version of the original Iron Man suit, and just keeps on yelling, "Pot shot! Pot shot!" And it's genuinely one of my fucking favorite bits out of the whole entire movie. I also think that's pretty funny that when he's left to die in the middle of the desert due to some Indian ambush, the noose around his neck keeps on getting tighter because the horse that he's on keeps on going forward because he's trying to eat at the very little grass that there is. It's honestly a very enjoyable short that kept the same cartoony nature as the first short did. 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this one. Oh, I really hope that they keep up this energy. It all goes downhill from here. And when I mean it goes downhill from here, I'm talking about a 180-degree fucking decline. The third one has to be the most boring shit I've ever fucking seen from a movie. The whole entire time, the joke is just, oh, he's retelling this story that goes on forever and forever, and it's boring the audience that he's telling it to. But that's not really good when you're boring the actual audience that is watching your goddamn movie. I shit you not, he goes and tells the same story multiple goddamn times. And it's not even different stories, it's legit just telling you the same fucking stories over and over again. The acting wasn't bad, the shots look nice, but at the end of the day, I'm just wondering, who the fuck does this appeal to? I do like the aspect of the show guy just sort of killing off his ex whenever they don't really make him money. But yet again, this is shown like at the last fucking 10 minutes, so I don't really think waiting through all this boring bullshit was worth it. Just a slog to get through. I would probably get this like a 3 out of 10. I really didn't enjoy this one. The fourth one is about this miner that goes down this river in a search for gold. We see him go slowly down the river, marking the spots that he's already been at. He sings to himself, he finds food to eat, digs, repeat, until the last moment where he has plot armor and he survives getting shot. I think at this short, I saw the pretentiousness of this movie. I had this overarching feeling of trying to act like it's this bigger thing and that, oh, it's so deep and meaningful.
And that what we're making is high art.
And it doesn't really feel like it's earned that. I only like a few things about it. It's shot very well. I mean, all these are shot very well, but in particular this one, it looks pretty good. I like the aspect of the animals returning once he leaves, and the little gun tussle at the end actually woke me up from my fucking coma. Overall, a slight improvement from the last one, but not really by a lot. I'll get this one like a 4 out of 10. The fifth one, I didn't even bother. It's so extremely slow, and it gave me flashbacks to the fucking third one. Plus, it was the longest one, and I did not want to fucking sit through all that shit. I knew that it was just a waste of time. Boring, pretentious, but I can't really get a grade to it since I didn't really finish it. But just know that, for me personally, it's fucking boring. The last one actually gave me a little bit of hope, but I was so blue-balled by the end of it. I love this whole entire western mixed in with a slight supernatural theme. It's set up as if it's just a regular ride to a place. Everybody has phenomenal acting in this. And even though there's a lot of talking, I can honestly hear these guys just talk all day. The extrovertedness of the old man just disturbing this more quiet and reserved lady is just so funny. And honestly, the people that bring them to this location are honestly terrifying. They have like this welcoming but unsettling vibe to them by the end of the journey. And they just start saying random shit that eventually just starts adding up. Then once you get to the location and they're all there, it just ends. It just ends like fucking that. You had a 50-minute fucking short, then you had one of the most boring fucking shit I've ever seen. But for the ones that are actually entertaining and you obviously put the most effort into, you cut them way too short. Watching this movie is like fucking tug-of-war. I honestly wanted to know more about these characters, but I guess that's more of me having a problem with anthologies and not really fleshing out their characters, and even if they do, then what's the point, because you're not gonna fucking see them again. Anyways, I thought this one was very enjoyable, yet kind of short. I'll give this one like a 7 out of 10. And that was all my rankings for Ballad of Buster Scruggs. A very conflicted movie for me personally that I still enjoyed in bits. I would watch the first one, the second one, and the last one. The other ones, fuck them. I hate them so much.
But why do we need him?
This job gets very stressful, Mr. Krabs.
It's a movie where when it hits, and when it doesn't, it fucking misses by a long shot. If I could just rank them all together and just rank this movie as a whole, I would grade it as a 5.5 out of 10. It's a good movie with perfect acting at its finest, but a slog and a torture to fucking sit through at its worst. And the last one, TMNT Mutant Mayhem. Now, the majority of you is gonna be down my throat. Let me list the positives before I get into the negatives. For once, I actually like that they're casting teenagers for, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The animation looks imperfect, but in like an intentional way that also looks appealing. I love how everything has this storyboard sort of crown look to it. There were some jokes I actually laughed at, and unlike the other movies where I definitely was hating it more than I was loving it, with this one, I thought that was pretty okay in the end. It's a decent single watch. But the dialogue in this movie has to be some of the worst fucking dialogue I've ever heard. It's exactly that meme where it's just saying, "How do you do, fellow kids?" They said sus like 1,000 times and I wanted to slam my head into the fucking screen. The improv bits was just not fucking entertaining. They just go on for way too much, and I just felt like that there was too much improv in the movie itself. The whole entire ending just felt rushed. I swear the side villains automatically goes to the turtle sides after saying the equivalent of, "Look how bad he's treating you," and then they're like, "Damn, fuck, you're right," and then immediately leaves the main villain's side. My final complaint will solely have to be on Seth Rogen's part. I've been noticing this weird trend between his series The Boys and this movie, where I swear to God, I think he's injecting his fetishes into his shows. In The Boys, it sort of makes sense because it's kind of a fucked up show. Like Homelander having a whole entire milk fetish. Some girl liking her tits getting lasered. I can't even say that with a fucking straight face. I honestly don't care if fetishes are injected into adult shows because, it's meant for fucking adults. Different strokes for different folks when it comes to that. But there's a whole entire joke in the TMNT movie where they constantly reference milking and how the main 4 kids are constantly scared about being milked. Which, after seeing The Boys, which Seth Rogen was on and he written, it feels really fucking weird and disgusting to put that into a children's movie. It's not even a funny joke, it's just straight up weird. Like, I don't give a shit when it comes to The Boys. That's rated R and it's not being applied to literal children. But when it comes to this, I'm just constantly just like, what the fuck are you doing, Seth Rogen? Do you need to be behind bars? Are you the sole reason why children's content has a bunch of fetish shit in it?
I want to be the next Dan Schneider.
May I add one more thing? If you don't like April in this movie just because A, she's black, or B, because she looks ugly, no, I'm serious. Like, people have actually done this. 1, black people exist. I can't believe that I had to fucking say that. It isn't like the 60s anymore, right? Like, they can be in major roles. I'm just saying. And 2, if you're saying that a high schooler is supposed to be hot, go to fucking jail. Anyways, overall, I thought this movie was pretty okay. There's a few action scenes that I like and a few shots with the camera that I enjoyed. But I just feel like the comedy just wasn't for me. And it just felt like a failed attempt to resonate with children. And them saying sus and shit like that, I just feel like it's just gonna date the film extremely horribly. Oh, I didn't even mention the Mr. Beast cameo. Oh, holy shit, that was terrible. Unlike the other movies, I feel like you should actually watch this at least once. There's enough there for me to say that I should recommend it, but the comedy just wasn't for me, obviously. A lot of other people enjoy this movie, and I can see why they definitely would. I guess I was just expecting a little bit more, at least when it comes to the writing department. I'll give this a 6 out of 10, and that was the 3 underwhelming movies I've seen. They definitely vary heavily in quality, but I do see some aspects that I did genuinely like out of all of them. I just wish that those aspects that were crucial to those films would have remained prevalent throughout the films. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to, like if you want to, even comment if you want to. I don't care, you do you, and have a good day.